Hello fans and friends, welcome to another video. My name's Keir Smith. So Roger Waters has recorded a new version, his version of Pink Floyd's classic album from 1973, The Dark Side of the Moon. And as I'm sure most Pink Floyd fans watching this video will know, that there's a 50th anniversary deluxe box set being released. And I'd love to get that, but the only problem is it's £250, so it might have to wait for a while. But I'll certainly be putting in a pre-order for the 1974 Live at Wembley 1LP 2023 Master, which is nicely priced at around £20. This new version of The Dark Side of the Moon by Roger Waters is said to be released in May. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the album we all know and love, the exciting new release from Roger, and this seemingly never-ending feud between Roger Waters and David Gilmour. So, a new version of The Dark Side of the Moon by Roger Waters, the brains behind the original project. The first thing I thought was, wow, that is a surprise. Why is he doing it? And in a recent interview, Roger Waters explained, I quote, "Because not enough people recognised what it's about, what it was I was saying then." Now, as many people know, The Dark Side of the Moon is an album that spent almost 14 years on the US Billboard Top 200 album charts between 1973 and 1987. It sold nearly 50 million albums worldwide and has been pored over by generation after generation of fans. Just about everything that could have been written about The Dark Side of the Moon has been written. We all know what the album's about. It's about life and death, travel, time, money, war, lunacy. Important themes that are carefully considered and wonderfully written by Roger Waters. And here's another quote from the recent interview with Roger Waters. "I wrote The Dark Side of the Moon. Let's get rid of all this we crap. Of course we were a band. There were 4 of us. We all contributed. But it's my project and I wrote it, so blah." Now this bothers me a little bit. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to get a little bit tired of reading this type of stuff from Roger. The Dark Side of the Moon is, without a shadow of a doubt, considered to be one of the greatest albums of all time. And of course, that is down to Roger Waters' artistic vision and his brilliant writing. But what about Nick Mason's perfectly placed and timed drumming? Richard Wright's beautiful, emotional touch on the piano and keyboards? And the incredible guitar playing from Dave Gilmour? What about Doris Troy, Liza Strike, Leslie Duncan and Barry St. John, the ladies on backing vocals? And what about Claire Torrey's harrowing wail, that sensational singing on The Great Gig in the Sky? And what about the voices that creep around the album from Jerry Driscoll, Roger the Hat and others? And the superb saxophone playing from Dick Parry, especially on Us and Them. That is a real emotional high point of the album for me. And what about the stunning album cover designed by the Hypnosis team of Aubrey Powell and Storm Thorgerson? It is without doubt one of the most recognisable front covers of all time. The obvious point that I'm making here is everybody contributed to this masterpiece. The way Roger Waters talks, it's as if The Dark Side of the Moon is his album completely, and that everyone else who played on the original album was merely a session player. I don't want to take anything away from Roger Waters, but I want to give a whole lot of credit to everyone else on this album. As I've said, Roger Waters' lyrics are incredible, especially on this album. I often say to people that the song Time is my favourite song ever. And then one day you find 10 years have got behind you. No one told you when to run. You missed the starting gun. I know that feeling. The lyrics marry the music perfectly to create this incredibly powerful and moving song. That song in particular continues to blow me away, even after I don't know how many listens. It does annoy me that Roger is so reluctant to give anyone else any credit. And of course, all of this dates back to when Roger Waters decided to leave Pink Floyd and David Gilmour and Nick Mason decided to carry on. They got Richard Wright back in the band, they went on tour and conquered the world all over again. And Roger Waters simply cannot deal with that. He was seething, and it seems as if he still is, that Pink Floyd could carry on without him. And I thought that this was interesting. In a 2018 interview with Rolling Stone magazine, drummer Nick Mason said, "I think the problem is Roger doesn't really respect David. He feels that writing is everything and that guitar playing and the singing are something that I won't say anyone can do, but that everything should be judged on the writing rather than the playing. I think it rankles with him that he left the band assuming that without him it would fold." He also said, "It's a constant irritation, really, that he's still going back to it." For me, most of the aggravation appears to be coming from Roger. Roger seems to do nothing but talk badly about Pink Floyd and his former bandmates since he left the group. Dave always seems to me to be fairly relaxed about everything. But this new version of The Dark Side of the Moon by Roger Waters, I am excited to hear it. At first, I scoffed at the idea, but I've changed my mind. During that dreaded lockdown period, Roger Waters did record two new versions of two Pink Floyd songs. We had Mother from The Wall and Two Suns in the Sunset from the final cut. Both recorded with musicians from his touring band. Two Suns in the Sunset, in particular, was beautifully done. But it will be interesting to hear what Roger has done with this new version of The Dark Side of the Moon. I've read that Roger croons his way through Money with that low register vocal. It sounds as though he's taken it back to the original demo that he presented the band with. I've read that he sings Time very well, which is good to hear, and that his weathered vocal lends itself well to those lyrics. And there's apparently going to be some spoken word poetry, written by Roger of course, over some of the instrumental songs on the album. But on this new version of the album, it features other instrumentalists and singers. And apparently, and this really puzzled me, Roger only plays a bass solo on one solitary song, Us and Them. Now, why is that? Why would he not contribute more musically? Now, I suspect that for all of Roger's great writing skills, he's not a great musician. And he needs other musicians, as he needed Pink Floyd to bring his great songs to life. But I'm interested, I'm in, I'm going to buy it. Let's hear it. But let me know what you think in the comments section below. Do you think that they've taken Roger's marbles away? Or are you interested to hear his version of the album? And what do you think to Roger's recent comments where he's exerting his dominance over the band, or at least trying to? Let me know. Please give the video the thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel. There'll be lots more to come. Thanks as always for watching. See you next time. And there is no dark side of the moon really. Matter of fact, it's all dark.